In more ways than one, Roscoe "Fatty Arbuckle" was the biggest star in America. He was heavy-set, but extremely agile, the prototype for a legion of comedic big men. Audiences marveled at his physicality. The first actor to receive a $1 million paycheck, Arbuckle was more popular even than Charlie Chaplin. Then it all went away. Arbuckle spent the final years of his career hiding from the spotlight, tainted by shame and scandal. His tumultuous story makes Fatty Arbuckle one of the most tragic figures in Hollywood history. Keep watching as we delve into the life and tragic ending of Roscoe "Fatty Arbuckle. But where did it all begin? Roscoe Conkling Arbuckle was born on March 24, 1887, in the small town of Smith Center, Kansas, one of 9 children to William Goodrich Arbuckle and Mary Gordon. Shortly after his birth, the family moved to Santa Ana, California. From the very beginning, Roscoe was larger than life. His reported birth weight ranged from a sizable 14 pounds to a gargantuan 16 pounds, a size that may have caused lasting health problems for his mother, ultimately contributing to her death. Roscoe's father, William, resented him deeply. Not only did he blame Roscoe's birth for his wife's health issues, but he also suspected Roscoe might be illegitimate, since both he and Mary were small, slim people. This suspicion and contempt were reflected in the name he chose for his son, Roscoe Conkling, after a prominent Republican senator whom William, a staunch Democrat, despised. Roscoe's childhood was far from happy. At home, he faced shunning and abuse from his father. At school, he endured bullying and mockery from other children because of his weight, earning the nickname Fatty, which stuck with him throughout his life. These experiences made Roscoe a shy and introverted child who often turned to food for comfort, trapping him in a vicious cycle. The more he was taunted, the more he overate, which only made him bigger and subjected him to further ridicule. Fortunately, young Roscoe soon discovered his calling, the stage. Whenever he found himself in the spotlight, the shy, self-conscious boy transformed into a dedicated performer. Roscoe made his theater debut at the tender age of 8, and from that moment, he knew showbiz was his true path. Whether it involved singing, dancing, clowning, or acrobatics, Roscoe excelled in all of them. In 1898, tragedy struck when Roscoe's mother died, leaving him at just 12 years old. His father, who had never been supportive, wanted nothing more to do with him. Forced to fend for himself, Roscoe traveled to San Jose, where he found work in a hotel. He had a habit of singing while he worked, and one day a professional singer overheard him and suggested he try out for amateur night at a local theater. This was a time when stage managers used giant hooks to pull bad acts off the stage, the kind we've only seen in old Looney Tunes cartoons. Arbuckle feared the humiliation of getting the hook, but his first performance turned out to be a pivotal moment. Nervous and unprepared, his initial singing left the audience unimpressed. As the dreaded hook emerged from the wings, Arbuckle, in a panic, somersaulted to evade it and landed in the orchestra pit. The audience erupted in laughter, and his unintended acrobatic display won their hearts. He won the contest and earned further appearances at other theaters, launching his career in vaudeville. The following year, Arbuckle became part of the Pantages theater circuit, and by 1906, he was touring the country with the vaudeville show as one of their main attractions. In 1908, Arbuckle met and married his first wife, a singer named Minty Duffy. By this point, he had earned some renown in the theater world, making a transition to the silver screen inevitable. Arbuckle made his movie debut in 1909, appearing in a short titled Ben's Kid. Over the next few years, he worked on several shorts with the Selig Polyscope Company before moving to Keystone Studios, where his career truly took off. Keystone Studios, founded by the king of comedy, Max Sennett, became famous for its slapstick humor and the chaotic antics of the Keystone Cops. These films provided the perfect platform for Arbuckle to showcase his talent for physical comedy. He starred in dozens of these shorts, often alongside silent-era actress Mabel Normand, who also gained fame for her comedic abilities. Together, they created some of the most memorable and entertaining films of the silent era. Arbuckle's talent extended beyond comedy. Renowned operatic tenor Enrico Caruso once heard him sing and encouraged him to pursue a singing career, believing Arbuckle had the potential to become one of the world's greatest singers with proper training. Despite his imposing physical stature, Roscoe Arbuckle possessed surprising agility and acrobatic prowess. Max Sennett, recalling their initial encounter, marveled at Arbuckle's ability to skip upstairs with the lightness of Fred Astaire and perform spontaneous feats like backward somersaults as graceful as those executed by professional tumblers. His comedic films were renowned for their frenetic pace, featuring lively chase sequences and a wealth of visual gags. Arbuckle had a particular fondness for the iconic pie-in-the-face routine, which has since become synonymous with the slapstick humor of the silent film era. This timeless gag made its debut in the June 1913 Keystone one-reeler A Noise from the Deep, starring Arbuckle alongside his frequent screen partner, Mabel Normand. By 1914, Fatty Arbuckle was a comedy royalty. In 1914, Arbuckle received an unprecedented offer from Paramount Pictures, $1,000 per day plus 25% of profits, along with complete artistic control, to collaborate on movies with Normand. These productions proved immensely profitable and popular, leading Paramount to extend Arbuckle a groundbreaking 3-year, $3 million contract in 1918, an astronomical sum equivalent to approximately $61 million in today's currency. Arbuckle's influence extended beyond acting as he began directing some of his shorts. He also played a pivotal role in launching the careers of several up-and-coming actors, including his nephew Al St. John and the future comedy legend Buster Keaton. However, Arbuckle's personal life was not as successful. His marriage to Minty Duffy became strained due to his heavy drinking, a habit he had picked up during his vaudeville touring days. Arbuckle also faced significant health challenges in 1916. A severe leg infection developed into a debilitating carbuncle, prompting doctors to consider amputation. Though he managed to save his leg, Arbuckle endured intense pain and was prescribed morphine, which later led to accusations of addiction. Following his recovery, Arbuckle co-founded his own film company, Comedic, in partnership with Joseph Schenck. Comedic produced some of the era's most acclaimed short films. However, Arbuckle relinquished control to Buster Keaton in 1918 and accepted Paramount's lucrative offer to produce up to 18 feature films over 3 years. Arbuckle harbored mixed feelings about his on-screen moniker, Fatty, a nickname that originated from his school days. While acknowledging its inevitability, Arbuckle stressed that Fatty referred to his character roles, a naive rustic, rather than his true self. Despite his comedic persona, Arbuckle preferred not to be addressed as Fatty off-screen, asserting his identity with the remark, "I've got a name, you know." Despite setbacks in his personal life, Arbuckle's star continued to rise. Arbuckle was raking in the cash, but his hefty contract also meant juggling multiple film projects simultaneously, leading to burnout. So, when Labor Day of 1921 rolled around, he eagerly seized the chance for a much-needed break. Alongside his friend and director Fred Fishback, Arbuckle planned a 3-day getaway to San Francisco. The trip got off to a rocky start when Arbuckle suffered a peculiar injury to his rear end. Legend has it that while waiting for his luxurious Pierce Arrow automobile to be serviced at a garage, he accidentally sat on an acid-soaked rag, resulting in painful second-degree burns. Despite this mishap, Fishback convinced Arbuckle to push on with their plans. Together with actor Lowell Sherman, they embarked on their journey in Arbuckle's Pierce Arrow, heading straight for San Francisco. Upon arrival, they checked into 3 opulent rooms at the St. Francis Hotel. Despite prohibition having been in effect for over a year and a half, finding liquor wasn't a challenge, especially for one of Hollywood's biggest stars. Upon arriving at the hotel, Arbuckle and his companions received a delivery of whiskey and gin, eagerly preparing for the party they had planned. By September 5, 1921, their gathering was in full swing. Room 1220 had been designated as the party hub, while adjacent rooms 1219 and 1221 served as sleeping quarters for Arbuckle and his friends. Among the guests was 26-year-old actress Virginia Rappe, accompanied by her publicist Alfred Semnacher and another woman named Bambina Maud Delmont. Although their invitation status remains unclear, with drinks flowing and music playing, Rappe and her companions quickly made themselves comfortable. At one point during the festivities, Rappe needed to use the bathroom and entered room 1219, which belonged to Arbuckle. The actor followed her into the room, and they were alone together for an unspecified period. Some reports say as short as 10 minutes, while others suggest as long as an hour. Eventually, the party moved indoors, where Virginia Rappe was found on Arbuckle's bed, barely conscious and in great distress. She was writhing in pain, complaining of a sharp, piercing sensation in her abdomen. Despite calling a doctor, his assessment was shockingly dismissive. He suggested Rappe was simply intoxicated and hysterical. He administered morphine to quiet her and relocated her to another room to rest. The next day, Arbuckle left San Francisco. Strangely, despite Rappe's deteriorating condition, she wasn't taken to a hospital immediately. Instead, she remained in the hotel for several days, receiving morphine. As her health worsened, she was finally admitted to the hospital, but it was too late. Virginia Rappe died on September 9th from peritonitis, an acute infection caused by a ruptured bladder. With her tragic death came a crucial question. What had caused her bladder to rupture in the first place? Immediately, suspicion fell upon Arbuckle in connection with the tragic death of Virginia Rappe. Maud Delmont, Rappe's companion, vehemently accused the actor of sexually assaulting Rappe and causing her bladder to rupture due to his substantial weight. Delmont, however, had a history of fraud, extortion, and dishonesty, which would later come to light. At the time, her accusations gained enough traction to sway authorities. Just 2 days after Rappe's death, Roscoe Arbuckle was arrested by San Francisco police. According to the initial account, around 3 p.m. on the day of the party, Arbuckle had agreed to drive a friend into town. Upon entering his room to change, he discovered Virginia Rappe on the bathroom floor. Arbuckle moved her to the bed and brought her water, believing she was simply intoxicated. He then continued with his plans, but Rappe later fell from the bed to the floor, where she began moaning and writhing in pain. After placing her back in bed and providing her with a bucket of ice, Arbuckle tried to alleviate Rappe's pain as her cries drew other party attendees into the room. Witnesses observed Arbuckle holding an ice cube on her stomach, assuming she was intoxicated like many others at the party. However, according to reports, Rappe allegedly screamed out, "He did this to me," a statement that would prove damning for Arbuckle, though it's crucial to note the word allegedly. In the days following the incident, Maud Delmont brought in a doctor acquaintance to examine Rappe, specifically instructing him to look for signs of sexual assault. Despite finding no evidence to support Delmont's claims, she persisted in her accusations, and the police charged Arbuckle with first-degree murder. Arbuckle faced formidable adversaries, including San Francisco District Attorney Matthew Brady, who saw the case as a potential career-making opportunity and seemed determined to secure a conviction, regardless of the truth. The other formidable adversary Roscoe Arbuckle faced was newspaper tycoon and pioneer of yellow journalism, William Randolph Hearst. Recognizing the scandal's potential, Hearst's tabloids exploited every lurid detail for months on end. Truth took a back seat to sensationalism as Hearst's newspapers sensationalized the story. including unfounded rumors like the claim that Virginia Rapp's bladder had ruptured due to a violation with a champagne or Coke bottle, a detail that never surfaced during the trials but continues to circulate in some discussions today. For Hearst, this approach proved wildly successful. He boasted that the Arbuckle case outsold even the sinking of the Lusitania, an event that pushed the United States into World War I in terms of newspaper sales for his San Francisco Examiner. However, Arbuckle's defense team made a critical misstep by opting to keep their client off the stand and foregoing closing arguments. They believed this strategy would demonstrate confidence in their case's strength, but it had the opposite effect on the jury. In the initial trial, Arbuckle's personable and sincere testimony had swayed some jurors, but his absence in subsequent trials was seen as a sign of guilt. The jury deadlocked 10-2, leaning towards conviction. The third and final trial commenced on March 13, 1922, with Arbuckle's attorneys adopting a more aggressive approach. They meticulously dismantled every piece of evidence against their client, demonstrating to the jury its inconsistencies and falsehoods. A significant risk they took was attacking Virginia Rapp's character, portraying her as a promiscuous woman who allegedly underwent multiple illicit abortions that compromised her health. This strategy could have easily backfired by alienating the jury with its criticism of a deceased woman, but it ultimately did not. On April 12th, after deliberating for just 5 minutes, the third jury returned with a swift verdict, not guilty. They went further by issuing a statement that declared, "Acquittal is not enough for Roscoe Arbuckle. We feel that a great injustice has been done to him." There was not the slightest proof presented to connect him in any way with the commission of a crime. He conducted himself with dignity throughout the case and told a straightforward story which we all believe. We wish him success and hope that the American people will accept the judgment of 14 men and women that Roscoe Arbuckle is completely innocent and free from all blame. Unfortunately, the trial's aftermath was devastating for Arbuckle. It depleted over $750,000 of his personal wealth and wiped out his life savings. His lucrative $3 million contract with Paramount evaporated amid the scandal, and the IRS seized his remaining assets to settle his unpaid taxes. Moreover, beyond the financial ruin, Arbuckle became a symbol for those who believed Hollywood was corrupting American morals. Despite his acquittal, many argued that the scandal was evidence of Hollywood's moral decay and called for stricter oversight. His scandal was one of several that tarnished the movie industry in the early 1920s, causing studio executives to fear for the public perception of their larger-than-life stars. To mitigate future scandals and restore public trust, Hollywood established self-regulation through the Motion Pictures Producers and Distributors of America, MPPDA, now known as the Motion Picture Association, MPA. Will Hayes, a former politician and postmaster general, was appointed to lead this new industry watchdog. A decade later, Will Hayes would gain notoriety for implementing the Motion Picture Production Code, known as the Hayes Code, which governed what American films could depict until the mid-1960s. However, in the early 1920s, his primary goal was to restore Hollywood's reputation by purging it of perceived moral and ethical transgressions, with Roscoe Arbuckle at the forefront of this effort. Despite being acquitted, Arbuckle's association with a scandal of such magnitude led to his virtual exile from the movie industry. Just 6 days after Arbuckle's acquittal, Hayes effectively banned him from working in Hollywood. This decision was widely seen as a political maneuver by the studios to appease critics and divert attention from potential scandals involving other stars known for their wild lifestyles. Arbuckle, despite his innocence, became a sacrificial figure, sacrificed to protect the industry's image. His career, once thriving, was irreparably damaged by the shadow of the scandal, despite his legal vindication. Over the next decade, Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle struggled profoundly to resurrect his career. Plagued by deep depression and heavy drinking, he felt as though the world had crumbled beneath him. Despite his efforts, including appearing in stage shows, Managing a nightclub and directing films under the alias William B. Goodrich, Will Be Good, the stigma of the scandal kept opportunities scarce. Eventually, the Hollywood ban on him was lifted. Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle's personal life was deeply scarred by the trials and tribulations he faced. Financially ruined and emotionally drained, he struggled with bitterness and turned to heavy drinking, which strained his relationships. Despite the unwavering support of his first wife, Minta Durfee, their marriage eventually crumbled under the weight of his troubles, ending in divorce in 1925. Arbuckle quickly remarried Doris Dean in the same year, but their union lasted only 4 tumultuous years. His career also faced significant challenges. Although he found some solace behind the camera directing under the pseudonym William Goodrich, these efforts yielded modest success at best. It wasn't until 1932, a full decade after the trial, that Arbuckle finally secured a film acting role again. Warner Brothers offered him a chance to star in a series of popular two-reel comedy shorts, which enjoyed significant public appeal. This resurgence gave him hope and stability, and in the midst of this career upswing, he married his third wife, Addie MacPhail, that same year. However, even with this success, the shorts faced resistance from the British Board of Film Censors, who refused to permit their exhibition in England. Despite the trials and tribulations he had endured, Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle seemed poised for a remarkable comeback. On June 29, 1933, Warner Brothers signed him to star in a full-length feature film, a moment Arbuckle described to friends as the happiest day of his life. Overjoyed, he eagerly signed the dotted line. That evening, he and Addie, accompanied by friends, celebrated this double joyous occasion by painting the town red, reveling in a sense of renewed hope and optimism for his career. Coincidentally, it was also his wedding anniversary. In celebration, he dined with his wife before heading home to bed. Tragically, that night, Roscoe Arbuckle suffered a heart attack and passed away in his sleep at the age of 46. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at a mere $2,000. Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle's life was marked by soaring highs and devastating lows, from his rise as a beloved silent film star to the unjust scandal that nearly destroyed him. Despite his innocence being proven in court, Arbuckle's career and personal life never fully recovered. His tragic death at the cusp of a potential comeback leaves a haunting question. What might have been if Hollywood had given him a second chance sooner? What are your thoughts on the legacy of Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more insights into the life and legacy of this iconic figure in film history. Thanks for joining us. I'll see you next time. Bye.